tremendous rain caused the Ohio River to reach near record levels. Mayor Craig Greenberg kicked off a party for the planet at the Louisville Zoo, and the Louisville Forum recapped the 2025 legislative session. All that and more on Louisville This Week. I'm John Ramsey, Director of City Partnerships. Due to a series of storms that hit our area, the Ohio River reached levels we haven't seen in quite a while. The flooding caused Thunder over Louisville to be canceled for the first time in its history.
The Ohio River flooding has a lot of impact on people's daily lives, and of course impacts on events as well.
Safety is always the top priority of the Kentucky Derby Festival and Thunder over Louisville. This weather event is like nothing we've seen during our operational period for the Kentucky Derby Festival or Thunder over Louisville. We've seen it before, we've seen it after, and we've certainly dealt with issues during the event itself, but nothing like this. As the mayor said, this is a top 10 historic flooding event. We've made the very, very difficult decision to cancel Thunder over Louisville this year. We've seen some floodgates and we've had some flooding, but not anything like this. And again, getting people out on the water to do the work that is required to keep the show and move the show forward, it's just not possible at this time. The flood waters will prevent us from doing that. The debris field will prevent us from doing that. The viewing areas along the waterfront will be inaccessible, even again, accessing the barges to install the fireworks at this time. So unfortunately, Thunder is such a large-scale event and massive logistical undertaking with all of the federal, state, local, and metro partners that we work with, that rescheduling and postponing is just not an option.
This, while a challenging decision, disappointing decision, was not even a close decision. Because when you look at the projections, you can see that it's going to be way above the safety zone for pulling off a Thunder over Louisville. There are 70 other Kentucky Derby Festival events that bring our community together, that display our hospitality to the world in the run-up this year to the 151st Kentucky Derby.
Mayor Greenberg gave an update on the flooding during his weekly press conference.
You can see just how much of the waterfront, how much of River Road, how much the river has overtaken. Until you're standing up against this, it's tough to feel the scale of how much real estate the river takes over in this historic flooding event.
1997. That's the flood we all talk about. At 37 will be about a foot below the 97 flood. The lower part of the river will be about 2 feet below. But those are comparable, and these are major events. So big efforts take place. The flood protection system along the Ohio River was constructed because of floods in the past, 37, 45, and other years. There are 16 flood pump stations, 26 miles of levee and dams, more than 400 gates that have to be closed or changed to be able to keep the water in and pump the water out. We have pumped since Friday a little over 8 billion gallons to this point, and we're pumping about 2.5 billion gallons a day.
We're very fortunate to have the strength of our flood protection system, that we do not have even worse damage than we're currently seeing given this historic level of flooding. Our teams will be continuing to work, and then we'll turn into cleanup effort as well in the coming days as the water starts receding.
MSD took precautions to help keep everyone safe during this dangerous event.
Presently, we've got 16 flood pump stations. All have been initiated. Out of the 150 floodgates, we've got 55 of those that have been closed. Everybody knows and have seen downtown, we have roadway closures that have gone in. We've got 5 of those in right now out of the 80 closures that we have. So this is a Looks like it's going to be a top 10 event for us, so it's just back similar to 2018 and what we dealt with back then. Shutting the levee system off. Any water that's on the ground, on the interior, or in the creeks and streams, we're pumping back out so we don't inundate and flood homes. Here at Beargrass, we can do about 2.5 million gallons a minute. Key thing first is, safety. Be aware of the water outside. Don't think it's safe. Stay out of the waterways. As everybody's been talking, don't go around the barricades. There's a lot of construction going on, and most of that has to do with the flooding right now. We've got crews working all over the city. Be mindful of them. Drive cautiously, and please don't go around barricades. It's not gonna benefit you. We promise you. But the barricades will be removed when the time is ready and the roads are clear. We know it's safe to do so.
Heather Funk Gottlieb with the Belle of Louisville shared how this historic flooding has impacted the national landmark.
So we have the Mary M. Miller. So that boat was built in 1985. That's our newest river boat. And then we have two National Historic Landmarks, the Belle of Louisville that everybody knows. It's the icon of our city. She's 111 years old now. So she's beginning her 111th season. So April 19th is her tentative first public cruise date. And so we're hoping everything's on track for that. And then beyond that is the boat that's actually been on the Ohio River the longest, which is the Mayor Andrew Broadus. It's the world's only inland life-saving station, and it's actually been here on the Ohio River at 3rd and River since 1929. This is one of the top 10 historic floods. We've officially gotten past the 2018 levels, so we're in between 2018 and 1997 flooding-wise. But our crew, because many of them have been with us for so many years, that we do have crew members who were working at the Belle in 1997, and so they have the playbook for that. And so they do know what sorts of preparations to make. Because we are National Historic Landmarks, we've had staff on site on the boats 24 hours a day. And so if you are down here at the boats, I know a lot of people have been coming to observe the floodwater because it really is something to see. Every 8 hours we're doing shift changes and we're literally taking a rowboat out. So luckily we have made sure that the moorings are tighter and we've got more ropes so that the boat is actually tied down a little bit more firmly than it normally would be. You can see it's tied really closely to those concrete pillars right there. So it's obviously not going anywhere. One of the things we do have to worry about is things float down river. So when the water starts moving, it can go really fast and it takes things with it. And so one of the things that the people who are on staff with us have to make sure doesn't happen is having things actually hit the boat. You can see that whole trees will come down. One of the things we have to do is make sure that that doesn't happen. So we have to keep all of that out. And that's one of the things that also prevents us from cruising, when the water is high like this as well, is we don't want to have those sorts of things damage our historic landmarks when we're out in the water.
All throughout April, you'll have opportunities to help the Earth during the Party for the Planet at the Louisville Zoo.
We're here to celebrate our remarkable planet, our amazing home. Earth Day is really near and dear to our hearts because the zoo's mission is bettering the bond between people and the planet. So something like Earth Day is just very integral to what we do here. Our beautiful Earth deserves more than just one day, though, and that's why we are celebrating the Earth all month.
So I'm thrilled to be here today to encourage people to come to the Louisville Zoo to celebrate this Earth Month. What better place to celebrate Earth Month, to think about the interrelationship that animals and nature and humans all have together than right here at the Louisville Zoo.
The Tommy Elliott Fund held their first Story Fest.
One of the things I'm learning is that when you tell a story, you're having a conversation with the audience. So I would invite you tonight to clap, to laugh. If you shed a tear, that's okay. But to give these storytellers a lot of love because they're opening up their hearts and they're doing incredible work and they're doing a very courageous thing to come up here and tell their story. Well, StoryFest is a response to the mass shooting we had in our community on April 10th, 2023. So this is an opportunity for 6 nonprofits to go through rigorous storytelling training and then have an opportunity in front of the community to share a 5-minute story of impact and receive a grant. But the bigger message is one around hope and resiliency and the community coming together to lift one another up. It's a process to go through grief. I miss my husband every minute of every day. He was so committed to the community. He loved this community. I think that's what inspired me.
When your heart knows what it needs, you must go where it leads. Leave the nest, learn to fly.
After 28 years of service, Lee Birchfield, Executive Director of the Louisville Free Public Library, is retiring.
So when I was in 8th grade, someone came to my homeroom door while I was sitting in homeroom one morning and said, "We're looking for volunteers to work in the school library. Instead of going to study hall, you would go to the school library and work there. If you'd like to raise your hand and we'll take your name down." And I was like, I'm getting out of study hall. I was the guy that pushed the cart into the classroom with the film projector and like showed the Romeo and Juliet movie to the classroom. I just found the library to be a place that I loved being. Started as an assistant manager at the Iroquois branch out on Woodlawn Avenue, entry-level supervisor.
You remember your first day on a job?
I do. I went home and I told my wife I loved my job. I sat and read email all day. So my first day on the job, I go in and the manager of the branch had forwarded me a bunch of emails that had information in them that she knew I needed to know. So that was my orientation at the branch, was for 2 or 3 days. I sat there and read those emails and had meetings with the branch manager.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get those to me as soon, or even
It's been a remarkable run, but my first day on the job, like officially the day that it was announced that I was going to be the director, I'd been the interim for several months, but the day it was announced, Mayor Fisher gave his budget address and announced we were closing 2 branches and that we would have to reduce hours system-wide, except for the regionals, down to only 40 hours a week. And I leaned over during the budget address to another senior manager in Metro government and said, well, it can only get better from here, right? And then COVID. So no, actually it can get worse. When I became director, the library had tremendous momentum. Starting in 2007, I guess, when the tax referendum vote failed and failed miserably, the community really rallied around the public library, and the director at the time, Craig Buteau, did a great job of sort of rescaling the master facilities plan and marshaling support from all the different stakeholder groups to start us on this path of capital improvements, which were really needed because our capital infrastructure was in such dire need of improvement. And there was tremendous momentum built. And so when I became director, even though we had this operating budget crisis, there was still this broad support, bipartisan, from Metro Council, from the mayor's office, from stakeholders around the city, and from private funders who were willing to donate towards library capital projects. There was a great momentum. And so what I had to do was just not interrupt the momentum. And today, I feel really great about where I'm leaving the library as I retire. And then our staff, I said a while ago, our staff are dedicated. They have incredibly challenging jobs because they never know what somebody's going to walk in the door needing, and they're there to try and help them get whatever they come in the door needing. And they're just remarkably talented, and they're why the library is so loved. And I really appreciate all that they have done working with them at all these different levels over the past 28 years. Every day, all across the community, we are doing inspiring work that profoundly impacts people's lives and that gives them an opportunity to succeed that no other institution in our society today is providing to them. And it's doing it all at no cost to them. I'm not going to call it free, even though it's in our name, but it's doing it all at no cost to them. And that is so undervalued, and it is what I am dedicating myself to after I retire. I will continue to be a voice out there telling people Public libraries are critical to the health of our democracy, to the success of our neighborhoods, and to having a thriving, engaged community that is a great place to live and work and go to school and raise a family.
The 2025 legislative session was the topic for this month's Louisville Forum.
Today, giving a recap of the 2025 legislative session, what passed, what didn't, and what this legislation means for Louisville, we have with us two members of our legislature. First, we have Senator David Yates from Kentucky Senate District 37. And another familiar face is Representative Jason Nemes, who has been serving District 33 for several years, since 2017. Is that right?
You can watch the full Louisville Forum program each Wednesday at 7 a.m. and p.m. right here on Metro TV. The Louisville Academy of Music was at Klondike Elementary School for a presentation of Ferdinand and Friends.
Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him and he didn't care, so he went to his favorite cork tree to sit down. But he didn't look where he was sitting. And instead of sitting in the nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee.
Mayor Greenberg is keeping the public informed with his weekly Mayor's Minute.
This week, we saw the Ohio River finally crest, and now it's receding. Tomorrow, Saturday, we have crews coming in to work with our Louisville Metro government team to clean up the riverfront as quick as possible. While we were working on preparing for the cleanup of this historic flood, we also had some great things happen this week across the city. Today, we kicked off the Kentucky Derby Festival events with the exciting annual They're Off Luncheon. We also have a great announcement that we've signed a 10-year deal with Danny Weber Presents to ensure that Bourbon and Beyond and Louder Than Life keep growing right here in Louisville, bigger and better than ever. Saturday morning, we're going to be having a community cleanup at Waterfront Park, and the cleanup will continue in the coming weeks. Thanks for everything you guys do, Louisville, for coming together to support one another during these challenging times as we recover from this historic weather. Have a great weekend.
JCPS is looking for moderate to severe disability teachers and assistants to join their team.
Yeah. We're at Goldsmith Elementary and I'm a special education teacher. I teach in a moderate to severe disabilities kindergarten through 5th grade classroom. We are working on independence. That's my biggest goal for my students, just making sure that they feel comfortable out in the world, advocating for themselves, and then academics as well. So we work a lot on communication and social skills and the self-help. We work on feeding skills, and then just pulling them and working on mainstreaming in the general education classroom to make sure they're able to work with general education peers.
People can look through microscopes. I ended up working in an MSD classroom as an assistant for 2 years, and I just really fell in love with it. The kids are really great. They're very unique, but they're also just really funny and genuine. It's really fun to figure out what works for each kid, and each kid's very, very different. And so just being able to go in and to learn who they are, what they like, what motivates them, and then trying to figure out how to bring that to the table with learning. It just, I don't know, it just comes together in the end at some point, and it just is amazing to see.
I think I give probably 1,000 hugs a day, and their smiles are just, they melt your heart genuinely.
Ready? Okay.
I definitely have had struggles, but I am so happy with where I am. I have an incredible support team. I love all of my students' parents and my students. I mean, it's my family. So some days are tough, but you know, the next day is completely different, and you just keep going. The main things a special education, moderate to severe teacher would need is patience, understanding, and just being consistent, showing up every day and really being there for the students.
They really feel like family when you're helping them learn across academics and daily living skills and independent skills. You're there for literally every single thing that they might be learning, including just taking care of themselves. And so you just become really invested, and they really are like family to me.
So even though we have routines and our day does look the same, there's a tweak to it every day that does make it just different enough to keep it exciting. But you would see a lot of structure, a lot of routine, a lot of reinforcement. Most of my class is on some type of behavior support system. So we're constantly providing either verbal praise or a token for a token economy system, just making sure they know what the appropriate behavior is that we're trying to reinforce and advocate for and look for in our classroom. And I'm fortunate enough to have 2 amazing assistants, so you'll see a lot of hands-on, sometimes hand over hand, sometimes just a quick touch on the shoulder to make sure they know we're there. But yeah, lots of movement, lots of loud singing.
They're able to do it independently, they're able to do it consistently, and it's so exciting, and you go home and you're like, this is why I show up every day, this is why I come and I do this.
After years of putting in that work towards it, I mean, it's a big celebration. And just hearing the students say like, oh, I'm so happy, I can't wait to tell my parents, like it's incredible. You get goosebumps genuinely.
We continue our Metro Council member profiles with new District 10 Metro Councilwoman Josie Raymond.
Hi, my name is Josie Raymond, and I'm the Metro Councilwoman for District 10. I was first elected to the Metro Council in 2024 after serving 6 years as a state representative in Frankfort. Before I served in the Kentucky General Assembly, I taught and worked with students in middle school, high school, and college, including at U of L. I'm a JCPS graduate and now a JCPS mom. I'm also a huge advocate for the life-changing power of pre-K for our youngest learners. I married my prom date from Manuel, and now we're raising 3 little readers in the Klondike neighborhood. District 10 includes lots of great neighborhoods, including Audubon, Audubon Park, Camp Taylor, Watterson Park, West Butyl, and Butyl. We're the proud home of community assets like the Louisville Zoo, Joe Creason Park, the new Camp Taylor Memorial Pool, Audubon Hospital, St. X, JCPS's Newcomer Academy, and more. We'd love for you to come enjoy dirty soda and hot chicken in District 10, or better yet, move in. To learn more about District 10, please call 502-574-1110 or visit louisvilleky.gov/District 10.
Did you know that several local businesses consider Louisville pure tap water to be a key ingredient that makes their product special?
Hi, I'm Kayla with Louisville Water. Welcome to Above the Dirt Garden Shop. We're here today to see how this amazing local business is using Louisville Pure Tap in their daily operations. We're honored to be at the heart of their local business. Let's head inside to learn more.
So I've been dreaming of being a crazy plant lady for years. And on the same day, my husband and I both drove by this empty gas station and thought, this could be it. This could be the plant store. And that night he came up with the name Above the Dirt, and we've been here ever since. So I'm what I call an enthusiastic hobbyist when it comes to plants. This is intended to be a very safe place for everyone to learn together. Maybe we'll even Google it alongside you. So caring for plants comes to a few things. One, the best light possible, great water, and humidity. So making sure each plant, whether it's inside the store or outside in the lot, is getting the light, the water, and the humidity it desires to thrive. We use Louisville Pure Tap literally all day, every day. Whether it be our native plants, our house plants, the veggie garden that we grow here, we are watering 1, 2, maybe even 3 times daily, and we use Pure Tap to do it. The quality of water that we have here in Louisville is actually a rather big deal because, we're buddies with other plant stores around the country, and not everybody is able to simply use their tap water. They have to do these crazy reverse osmosis things to just water their plants, where here I can just pick up a hose or a watering can. It's actually quite nice.
We're proud to give Above the Dirt Garden Shop the Made with Pure Tap seal of approval. Thank you for your commitment to quality and for using Louisville Pure Tap. Cheers.
You're never at a loss for something to do in Louisville. Roseanne Maston with Louisville Tourism has suggestions for what you might enjoy this month.
Hi, I'm Roseanne Maston with Louisville Tourism. Here are a few things happening around Louisville this week. Mix, mingle, and enjoy bourbon specialty drinks at Bourbonville on April 17th. Held at the Ice House near Historic Whiskey Row, ticket holders can taste signature drinks and meet master distillers. K-Mac Couture's fashion show returns on April 19th with the theme Lucky Number 13, celebrating the show's 13th anniversary. Enjoy a unique fashion show where artists and designers create wearable art pieces that are showcased on the runway at K-Mac. You can visit the K-Mac website for ticket information. Spring into Derby at Paristown on Saturday, April 19th and Sunday, April 20th. Enjoy a Derby-inspired weekend of art, bourbon, and music. This outdoor community event features an open-air art show, bluegrass music, food, and free nightly entertainment by bands like Dark Moon Hollow and the Juicebox Heroes. You can find out more details about these events and others at www.gotolouisville.com. Just click on the calendar of events.
We were out on the streets of Louisville asking people, what is your favorite Derby Festival event?
And my favorite Derby Festival event is the hot air balloon race. I take my kids every year. We try to make the Thursday or Friday morning before school, and just watching them go up with the kids is kind of magical, especially if there's good weather. And then we get donuts, and we just make sure to do it every year. It's our tradition.
And my very favorite Derby event, besides Derby itself, is the Great Bed Race. It's a good time and a lot of fun.
My favorite event is the Urban League Gala. Love it. Every year it raises funds for the Urban League, and we love going. So Urban League Gala.
My favorite Derby event is probably Monster Jam or Thunder over Louisville.
And my favorite Derby event is the Great Air Show.
And my favorite Derby event, I guess it would be Thurby. The day before Derby, when you get dressed up and get to go down to the Oaks and have a ball. Yeah.
Metro Animal Services has several dogs, cats, kittens, and puppies that are all looking for a good home. Thank you for watching Louisville This Week. Please share Metro TV with your family and friends. Ask them to join us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. And download our app on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Have a wonderful week.